Every morning is a silent battle, not against the world, but against your own mind. Most people wake up and, from the very first minute, surrender to chaos. They check their phones, rush aimlessly, react to everything, complain about nothing, and thus lose control of their day before it even begins. We'll talk about how to face voluntary discomfort, how to start with gratitude, how to stop seeking approval. Go down to the comments and write this phrase: "Today will be a great day. I am stoic." It's not just for interaction, it's for you. Because by writing it, you're programming your mind from that moment to make your day spectacular. Write it now, and let's begin. And even how remembering your own mortality can give you power and direction. Imagine you encounter an unexpected problem. You can react with anger and despair, or with calmness and determination. That choice will always be yours. Practice this every morning. Over time, you'll notice that you'll become more resilient, more focused, and less affected by external distractions. And if you don't want to miss any of my future videos, subscribe and turn on notifications. You'll have control over the only thing that truly matters, your own mind. Marcus Aurelius stated it clearly: you have power over your mind, not over external events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Distractions, external demands, and others' urgencies will consume your energy before you realize it. Every action, every decision becomes a conscious step towards something greater. You no longer get lost in the trivial because you have an internal compass that guides your choices. We seek hot water, abundant food, the comfort of the sofa, and the security of routine. But what we forget is that excessive comfort weakens the mind and spirit. The Stoics understood that life is full of unexpected difficulties, and that only those who train their internal resilience can face them with strength. That's why they practiced voluntary discomfort, intentionally exposing themselves to small inconveniences to toughen the mind. If fortune grants him more than he expected, he will be grateful. If it takes something away, he will not be taken by surprise. Imagining the worst does not mean obsessing over tragedy, but training the mind so that when something difficult happens, you do not fall apart, but act with calm and clarity. Think of a warrior before battle. He does not allow himself the luxury of ignoring dangers. Instead, he anticipates them, studies them, and prepares for them. Every day is an opportunity, and every action is imbued with intention. Modern society avoids talking about death, but the Stoics faced it head-on, not with fear, but with respect. Because knowing that life is finite is not a condemnation, it is a liberation. It's what reminds us that we must love without reservation, act without fear, and leave a mark on the world before we depart. There are no guarantees that we will see another sunrise, but what is in our hands is to decide how we are going to live today. Will we waste this day on trivialities, or will we take advantage of it as if it were the last? The Stoics teach us that remembering death is not depressing. It is what allows us to truly live. Thus, when the time for combat comes, his mind has already traveled that path, and nothing takes him by surprise. Stoicism teaches us that time is our most valuable resource and that each day is an unrepeatable opportunity. You can lose your job, face an economic crisis, get sick, or receive bad news at any moment. But if you have already visualized these possibilities and considered how you could face them, the impact will be smaller and the solution will be clearer. The Stoics did not avoid thinking about adversity. They faced it beforehand, and in doing so, they transformed fear into preparation, uncertainty into strategy, and anxiety into total silence. Not because he despised wealth, but because he wanted to be immune to the dependence on luxury and comfort. Voluntary discomfort is not unnecessary suffering, but a tool for growth. We pretend there will always be a tomorrow and postpone what's important as if time were infinite. Marcus Aurelius stated it clearly: you are going to die, and you have not stopped procrastinating things, but time passes and life escapes you. Those who forget their mortality live in the illusion that there will always be more time to pursue their dreams, to ask for forgiveness, to say I love you, to correct mistakes. But a day comes when that time is no more, and what remains are regrets. But the Stoics understood an undeniable truth. Life is fleeting, and only those who remember its finitude can live with true intensity. When you choose to expose yourself to the cold without a coat, take a cold shower, or fast, you show your mind that you can endure more than you think. You learn to master your impulses instead of being their slave. Nowadays, we live in a society that values instant pleasure and immediate gratification. Don't let another day pass without intention. Wake up with clarity, with a defined purpose, and become the owner of your day instead of a passive spectator of it. And when night comes, you'll ask yourself, what did I actually do today? The Stoics understood that life isn't about filling the day with meaningless tasks, but about living with intention. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great philosopher emperors, began his mornings by reflecting on what truly mattered. He directed his life with purpose. He didn't let his time be consumed by trivialities. Now, let's begin. And without realizing it, this fear paralyzes them, makes them avoid risks, and leaves them at the mercy of uncertainty. The Stoics, instead of fearing the unknown, prepared for it. they practiced a powerful technique called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, which consisted of consciously visualizing the possible obstacles and difficulties that could arise in the day or in life. At first glance, this may seem like pessimism, but in reality, it is the opposite. It is a strategy to strengthen yourself mentally and face any adversity with serenity. These aren't just habits. They are philosophical tools that great Stoics like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus used not only to survive but to lead with clarity amidst chaos. If you apply these ideas, your morning won't be the same, and neither will your life. Stay until the end, because every minute can be the beginning of a firmer mind in a day that is more truly yours. But you're not here to repeat that unconscious routine. It's asking yourself, what is the one thing that would make this day worthwhile? It could be a commitment to your work, your personal growth, your character, or your relationship with others. The problem is that many people live their days without direction, like ships adrift, letting themselves be carried by the wind of circumstances. They answer messages, fulfill obligations, but they don't move towards anything significant. The result is frustration, dissatisfaction, and the feeling that life passes by without meaning. You're here because you know there's another way, a stronger, clearer, more stoic way. In this video, I'll share 10 lessons from Stoicism that'll transform your mornings and help you master your mind from the first minute of the day. Before we continue, I want you to do something very simple yet powerful. This simple reflection can make the difference between a day of frustration and a day of complete mastery over your mind. The Stoics understood that the greatest source of human suffering comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. The weather, traffic, the economy, others' opinions, even the actions of those around us. If you base your happiness on external things, you condemn yourself to a life of anxiety and dissatisfaction. Just before we start, I want to ask you two things. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. Only then can this content reach more people. 1. Decide what's in your control and what's not every morning. Before going out into the world, pause for a moment and ask yourself a key question. What is truly under my control today? Instead, what you can control is your attitude, your decisions, and how you respond to circumstances. When you adopt this mindset, you reclaim your power, stop being a victim of circumstances, and begin to act with serenity and purpose. Before continuing, I would appreciate it if you would please like and share this video so that it can reach many more people. 2. Define your purpose for the day. If you don't define your purpose at the start of the day, the world will do it for you. Defining a daily purpose doesn't mean having an endless to-do list, but establishing a clear direction. But when you start the day with a clear purpose, you take control of your destiny. 3. Start with voluntary discomfort. Modern human beings have been conditioned to avoid discomfort at all costs. Seneca said, practice poverty from time to time. Wear simple clothes, eat little, and ask yourself, is this what I feared so much? They fear failure, loss, criticism, or any unexpected event that could shake their stability. 4. Visualize the worst that could happen. Most people live in fear of the future. Seneca explained it this way: a wise man prepares for everything. We strive to ignore it. Life is unpredictable. 5. Reflect on your mortality. The fear of death has tormented humanity forever. Memento mori, remember that you will die, is not a macabre or pessimistic phrase. It's a call to action, an invitation not to waste days on trivial worries, excuses, and meaningless distractions. Instead, whoever keeps the reality of death present lives with urgency, with gratitude, and with purpose. Every conversation becomes meaningful. 6. Don't react immediately to anything. Impulsivity is a silent enemy that can ruin our relationships, our decisions, and ultimately, our peace of mind. In a world where everything seems to happen instantly, the tendency is to react without thinking, letting emotions take over, and acting without awareness of the consequences. This teaching invites us to recognize that emotions, though powerful, do not have to dictate our actions. When something bothers us, we should not act instantly. Instead, we should pause for a moment, breathe, and observe what we are feeling. Self-control does not mean repressing emotions, but recognizing them and choosing how to act from reason and perspective, not from impulse and reactivity. The praise of men is always uncertain, always superficial. This teaching reminds us that no matter how much we seek others' approval, it will always be volatile and subjective. What is appreciated today may be criticized tomorrow, and what you consider valuable may not be so for others. When we live seeking external validation, we become slaves to others' expectations. It gives us the necessary space to organize our ideas, identify what affects us, and clarify our intentions. It is an act of self. Instead of reacting impulsively to events, we take a step back and observe them with perspective. By writing about the day ahead, we not only organize our intentions but also mentally prepare ourselves for the challenges we may face. It is an opportunity to reaffirm our values, to remember that we have control over our reactions, and to define our actions with wisdom. Writing in a Stoic journal is an exercise in awareness, an act of alignment between our mind and our actions. If we start with negative thoughts, criticisms, or complaints, our mind tunes into a vibration of dissatisfaction. which can drag us along throughout the day. You focus on what doesn't work and what you don't like and what bothers you. We learn to live with more serenity, to accept what we cannot change, and to act on what is within our control. Each day is an opportunity to start anew, and by doing so with a positive attitude from the beginning, we align ourselves with inner peace. Don't miss it, because that's where character is truly forged. The first thought of the morning can define your day. And share this content with your friends, family, or anyone who needs to start their days with more clarity and inner strength. Keep cultivating virtue, one morning at a time. Thanks for being here. If you wake up with gratitude and focus on the positive, your mind will be prepared to face the day with clarity and determination, instead of getting caught up in complaining and This attitude not only consumes emotional energy but also traps you in a victim mentality. Remember, each day is a new opportunity to practice Stoicism, not as a theory, but as a way of life. If any of these lessons resonated with you, imagine what applying them daily can do. Instead of focusing on what you can control or change, you surrender to the chaos of frustration. The Stoics, on the contrary, adopted a mindset of resilience and acceptance. Marcus Aurelius, for example, began his day by reminding himself that every difficulty is an opportunity to practice virtue. Instead of focusing on inconveniences or problems, he chose to use his energy to face whatever was going to happen with calmness and wisdom. However, the Stoics understood that controlling our mind at the beginning of the day is essential to maintaining a life of peace and virtue. The first thought that arises upon waking defines the rest of the day. They said, if Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men of his time, dedicated time each day to written reflection, we, with our own struggles and decisions, can also find in the Stoic journal a space for self-growth and clarity. We deviate from our principles. We adapt our personality and our decisions to conform to what others expect of us. This robs us of our authenticity and our freedom. However, the Stoics taught something essential. True strength lies in the ability to respond with calm, not in reacting precipitously. We want more success, more money, more recognition, more comfort. This teaching underscores that poverty is not just a material matter but a mental condition. True abundance is found in a recognition and appreciation of what we already have. If we take a moment each day to remember and be grateful for what we have, we transform our perspective on life. The Stoics did not deny challenges or difficulties. Instead, they chose to see them as opportunities to learn and grow. Gratitude, then, is not an escape from reality, but a tool to keep us anchored in the present instead of getting lost in what we lack. Starting the day with gratitude not only changes our mindset, but also brings us closer to a life of greater peace and satisfaction. When we are grateful for what we have, we find true wealth. However, this constant desire for what we don't have can plunge us into a feeling of perpetual dissatisfaction. The Stoics, on the other hand, taught that the key to a full life does not lie in the endless pursuit of more, but in learning to deeply value what we already possess. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to dissatisfaction and envy. When we are grateful for what we have, we take a step back and see life from a broader perspective. Everything we possess today, whether it's our health, our family, our freedom, or even our opportunities, are things we once fervently desired at some point in our lives. Instead of focusing on what we have yet to achieve, we can recognize that many of our past aspirations are already fulfilled. It's fundamental to understand that we have no control over what others think or say. The only thing we truly have control over is our own conduct and our values. If we act according to what we believe is right, without letting external opinions sway us, we can walk with confidence in our own direction. Others' approval is fleeting, but when we are aligned with our own principles, we find lasting satisfaction. Living to please everyone is an unbearable burden. Living with integrity and being true to yourself is the true liberation. Anger, fear, frustration, or anxiety, if not managed, can cloud our judgment and distort reality. By practicing the pause, we make room for reflection. That small fraction of a second between stimulus and response is where our freedom lies. The Stoics understood that the mind, like the body, needs training and discipline. Journaling is not just an act of recording thoughts, but a practice of mental clarity and self-examination. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, is one of the best-known examples of how this practice can be a path to inner peace and self-growth. In his meditations, Marcus Aurelius wrote every day, not with the intention of others reading it, but as a means to organize his thoughts and keep his mind focused on what truly mattered. It was not a simple record of events, but a tool for deep reflection on his virtues, his challenges, and his purpose. For him, the journal was a space where reason and reflection could prevail over the chaos and emotions of everyday life. Instead of reacting with rage to criticism, we can analyze it objectively. Instead of giving in to panic in the face of difficulty, we can find solutions with serenity. The Stoics knew that our ability to choose how to respond to adversity is what defines our inner peace. It is not what happens to us that defines us, but how we choose to respond. By taking a moment to reflect, we transform every challenge into an opportunity to act with wisdom and control. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said, "We cannot control the events that happen to us, but we can control our response to them." When we allow our emotions to govern our responses, we risk saying or doing things we will later regret. Social media rewards us with likes. People judge us based on our decisions, and our self-esteem is affected by others' opinions. However, the Stoics taught a powerful truth. True inner peace comes from not depending on the approval of others. 7. Reduce the need for approval. We live in a society that constantly tells us we must seek external validation. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, warned us against the trap of external validation. Do not seek the admiration of others. The Stoics taught us that true freedom lies in doing what is right according to our own principles, regardless of what others think. 8. Write in a Stoic journal. The act of writing is a powerful tool for reflection and the writing process allows you to distance yourself from impulsive emotions and thoughts. Start with gratitude in life. We often focus on what we lack. Seneca stated it clearly. It is not the man who has little, but the one who desires more, who is poor. 10. Don't complain in the first hour of the day. The first moments upon waking have a profound impact on how we experience the rest of the day. When you complain or face life with a negative attitude from the start, you condition yourself to see everything as a problem. By avoiding complaints in the first hour of the day, we train our mind to focus on solutions instead of problems. If you've made it this far, you've already taken a huge step towards mastering your mind in your mornings. Now I invite you to delve deeper. In the next video, we'll explore how to maintain this Stoic mindset, even in the most difficult moments of the day. If this video brought you value, like it, subscribe if you haven't already,